The soils of India are classified into 6 types. The first one is alluvial soil. Then you can look at the second soil is given black soil. Now the third soil is given, look at the third soil. After alluvial, which soil is given in your textbook? First is alluvial soil, second is black soil, third is red and yellow soil, fourth is laterite soil, fifth is arid soil, and sixth one is forest soil. So each soil we are going to learn in detail. Okay, so first we are starting with alluvial soil. Look at the first line. This is the most widely spread and important soil. Most widely. That means out of the 6 soils which we have just now read the names, alluvial soil, black soil, red soil, laterite soil, arid soil and forest soil. Out of all these 6, this alluvial soil is the most widely spread. That means alluvial soil covers the maximum area of the country. Out of all the different soils, this is the soil which is covering the maximum area of the country. So do remember, question has come in the board examination, which is the most widely spread soil of India. Do remember, the most widely spread soil of our country is alluvial soil. In fact, the entire northern plains are made of alluvial soil. You must remember your northern plains which we studied in class 9th. That northern plains of India is made up of, complete northern plain is made up of alluvial soil. Right from starting from Rajasthan and going up to Assam, the whole stretch of India is made of alluvial soil. Of course, the western part of Rajasthan is having desert soil, that you need to keep in mind. But the rest of the northern plain is made of that our alluvial soil. Okay. These have been deposited by northern plain is made of your entire northern plain is made of your alluvial soil. Then these have been deposited by 3 important Himalayan river stream system, that is Indus, the Ganga and the Brahmaputra. That means your northern plains, they are made by 3 rivers. Okay, now 3 rivers have deposited. Now what they have deposited? Sediments or soil. Now which are the 3 rivers? The first one is Indus, the second one is Ganga, third one is the Brahmaputra. So do remember these 3 rivers. Indus, Ganga, Brahmaputra, they have formed the northern plains. Actually, they have brought the alluvial soil and deposited in the northern plains and formed the northern plains. These soils also extend in Rajasthan and Gujarat through a narrow corridor. So your northern plains which extend from, as I told you, from Rajasthan, so it covers a part of Rajasthan, it also covers a part of Gujarat, a narrow corridor. That means in a small area of Rajasthan, small area of Gujarat, we do find alluvial soil. Now alluvial soil is also found in the eastern coastal plains, particularly in the deltas of Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri. So 2 areas are given over here. One is your northern plains which are made up of by 3 rivers, Indus, Ganga, Brahmaputra. Then you find alluvial soil in the delta. Now where is these deltas? In the eastern coastal plains. In the eastern coast, not in the western coastal plain. Only in the eastern coastal plain we find the delta of Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, Mahanadi, and they have formed the delta areas and they have deposited the alluvial soil. So you need to keep in mind that in India there are 2 regions where we find alluvial soil. One is the northern plains and the second one is your coastal plains, which eastern coastal plains. So do remember, only 2 areas of India is having alluvial soils. One is the northern plains and the second one is eastern coastal plains. So remember this. Now moving to the next, look at the next paragraph of your alluvial soil. The alluvial soil consists of various proportions of sand, silt and clay. So do remember the proportion. What makes alluvial soil? What is the proportion, or what all the other things which are there? Sand is there, silt is there, clay is there. This is known as physical composition of soil. So we have sand, we have silt, we have clay, which are found in the alluvial soil. Actually, the rivers are bringing the sediments and they are depositing on the two sides of the river. So there is sand is there, silt is there. Now what is silt? Do you know? Sand, of course, you must have seen, and you know when you touch you can make out the grains of the sand. Silt is much finer than sand, but still they have small very fine particles of sand. Clay is much finer soil. So these three you must remember: sand, silt and clay. As we move inlands towards the river valleys, soil particles appear somewhat bigger in size. As we move inlands towards the river valleys, soil particles appear somewhat bigger in size. So that means near the river valleys, when you move towards the river valleys, we find there are some big pieces of soils are there. In the upper reaches of the river valley, that is near the place of the break-up slope, the soils are coarse. Now actually you need to keep in mind, now rivers are there. Now river valley is there. Then after the river valley you find there are areas which have the soil, but the soil is not very fine, they are coarse. Coarse means there are pieces of soil is little big. Such soils are more common in the pediment plains such as Drier, Chaos, Tarai. Now first you need to understand what is pediment plain. Do you know, anyone can tell me what is pediment plain? Actually, where the mountain slope meets the plain. This is your pediment plain. Now, which is your pediment plain? The foothills. Where the hills are meeting the plains. Exactly at the foothill, that part is known as pediment plain. So the local names are given: Drier, Chaos, Tarai. These are the three local names of the pediment area. Pediment means foothills of a mountain. Okay, foothill means where it is standing and meeting the plain area. That particular area where the river all of a sudden will come and will flow on the plain. So that is having some bigger pieces of sediments. So they are known by the name Drier, Chaos, Tarai. Now go to the next paragraph. Apart from the size of the grains or components, soil are also described on the basis of their age. Now grains, as I told you, sand is little big in pieces, silt is little finer sand, clay is more fine, very fine soil it is. So different size of grains are there. And now instead of that, we are now here going to learn a classification that is based on age. Okay, look at the line. The classification now which we are going to learn is, it is based on the age. That means at what time that soil was formed. Maybe very olden time it is formed, maybe recently formed. So based on age, we are classifying the alluvial soil into two. One is known as Bhangar, the other one is known Khadar. Now we are going to classify soils on the basis of age. Now based on age, alluvial soils are classified. Old alluvial is known by the name Bhangar soil. New alluvial is known by the name Khadar soil. So do remember, alluvial soils are classified on the basis of age into two: old alluvial, which is known by the name Bhangar, and new alluvial, which is known by the name Khadar. Okay. Now let's go to the next. The Bhangar soil has now the difference. What is the difference between Bhangar soil and Khadar soil, or new alluvial and old soil? Differentiate, okay? Now the Bhangar soil has higher concentration of conker nodules than the Khadar. It has more fine particles and is more fertile than the Bhangar. Okay, look at here. Now, what is the difference between the old alluvial soil and new alluvial soil? Did you get the difference? Could you make it out when you make the difference between old one and new one? Or you can write there Bhangar soil and Khadar soil. The Bhangar soils are big in pieces. That means they are not very fine soil. They have kankar. Kankar means small pieces of stones are available there. And in the Khadar there is very fine soil. So the one difference is given over here. Please do remember the difference. Bhangar is old soil, Khadar is new soil. Bhangar is not very fine soil, it is having kankar. Khadar is very fine soil. Okay, it is when you touch you can make it out, it is a smooth soil. Now, there is another difference. Khadar soils are found near the rivers and Bhangar soils are found far away from the rivers. That means one is fine, one is not fine. One is near the river, the other one is far from the river. One is very fertile, the other one is not that fertile. So like that you have to remember the difference. Now moving to the next paragraph. Alluvial soils as a whole are very fertile. Actually, out of your all the soils, this is the most fertile soil. For agriculture purpose, this is the best soil. So it is highly fertile, very fertile. The rest of the soils are, of course, some of the soils are good, they are fertile. But the most fertile soil in India is alluvial soil. Now, mostly these soils contain adequate proportion of potash, phosphoric acid and lime, which are ideal for the growth of sugarcane, paddy, wheat and other cereal and pulse crops. Now these soils, the physical composition I have given you, that is sand, silt and clay. Alluvial soils physical composition is sand, silt and clay. But look at the chemical composition. The chemical composition is given over here. It has good proportion of potash. It has good proportion of phosphoric acid. It has good proportion of lime. So these three chemical proportion you need to keep in mind. It has potash, it has phosphoric acid, it has lime. Okay, so it is good for the crops like paddy. Paddy means rice, then sugarcane, wheat, almost and all important cereal crops, all important pulse crop. Pulse means all the dals which we eat. Due to its high fertility, point to be noted, due to its high fertility, keep in mind it is highly fertile soil. Regions of alluvial soils are intensively cultivated and densely populated. So look at 2 points are given over here, that these soils are very fertile. As they are very fertile, so these soils are intensively cultivated. Can anybody tell me the meaning of intensively cultivated? That means one crop is taken, immediately the farmer will grow the second crop. If the second crop is taken, he will go for the third crop. Continuously, one after another, they keep on growing crops. That is the meaning of intensively cultivated. Now, next is given densely populated. Now, these areas wherever alluvial soils are found, they are densely populated area. Actually, in the olden times, people used to settle down in the river valleys where alluvial soil was found, because at that time there was only one occupation, that was agriculture. And to get near the rivers, they had good soil. Even the near rivers, they were providing them water supply for their agriculture. So that's why you need to keep in mind that because of high fertility, the soils are intensively cultivated and the areas are densely populated. Okay, now next one. Soils in the drier areas. Drier means where the rain is little less. In such parts are more alkaline and can be productive after proper treatment and irrigation. That means in the dry areas where the rainfall is little less and we have the alluvial soil, those soils are alkaline. Alkaline in nature means they have little more salt. Okay, they are little salty soil where the salt content is there. But they can be made good for growing crops if there is irrigation. And other proper treatment can be given your chemical fertilizer or manure, then we can make it fertile and we can use it if there is water supply, irrigation supply. So this is about your alluvial soil.